Unit 47, water measure. At the top of your page, you will notice that there is a section for conversions. These are conversions that you're going to need to have memorized. The first one, if you have a cubic inch, that means, a cube. And if every side is 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch, that is 1 cubic inch. It would take 231 of those stacked together to hold exactly 1 gallon. Underneath, we have the conversion for cubic feet. It would take 7.5 gallons to fill 1 cubic foot. So up here where I drew this, now imagine those are 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot. You would have to pour in 7.5 gallons of water to fill that thing full. The next one, if you take cubic feet and multiply by 62.5, it'll tell you the weight of the water. That is because 1 cubic foot weighs 62.5 pounds if it's filled with water. If, this is one of the big ones that you'll need to know, going from gallons to pound, 1 gallon of water weighs 8.33 pounds. So if you're trying to figure out how many a certain gallons of water weighs, you would just multiply by 8.33. So I did some examples for you on your assignment. Number 1, 1,600 cubic inches. You're trying to convert to gallons. So you'll see that I write here divided by 231, which gives us 6.93 gallons. Then to figure out the weight, I just took the amount of gallons, 6.93, and multiplied by 8.33 because that's how much 1 gallon weighs. And I got 57.73 pounds. Another case would be if you're in cubic feet. The conversion for cubic feet is to multiply by 7.5. So 18 times 7.5 is 135 gallons. And then convert your 135 gallons to pounds by multiplying by 8.33. Your next example that I showed you was a rectangular solid, given the length, the width, and the height. The volume for a rectangular solid is length times width times height. So you're literally just multiplying the 3 dimensions together. The most important part is that you remember your units are cubed because you're in 3 dimensions. Okay, next up you have a flush tank, and what you're trying to do is first figure out how much does it hold in cubic inches, and then you're converting that to gallons. So what I've done is I've looked at the dimensions here, and we have a 19 inch by 10.5 inch by 11 inch. I'm a very visual person, so I went ahead and drew a picture of what this would look like. To find its volume, again, length times width times height, that would give you 2,194.5 inches cubed. And then again, from inches cubed to convert to gallons, we just divide by 231, and that gives us 9.5 gallons. So what we found out is that that tank holds 9.5 gallons. What you need to be careful about is that your units are the same. So if I go down to number 13 on your assignment, you'll notice that you have 14 feet, 23 feet, but then you have 4 inches. I would convert 4 inches to feet. Now 4 inches is about 1/3 of a foot. So what I would probably do is when I'm calculating the cubic feet, go 14 multiplied by 23 multiplied by 1/3. A lot of people will make an error right here and they'll times by 4. That would give you the wrong answer because you do not have 4 feet, you have 4 inches. Okay, now we're moving on to a different shape. This is cylinders. Up top, I have given you the formula for a cylinder. Pi times the radius squared times the height. I first wanted to start out by showing you a common error. What a lot of people will do is they will first multiply pi times the radius and the height and then square everything. That is not the case, and I'm just going to show you up here at the top. Let's say that your radius equals 3 and your height equals 2. So if I was to plug in, this should say volume equals pi times radius squared times height. So again, the common mistake is that people will type in their calculators pi times 3 and then they'll click squared. In math, we have an order of operations. Many of you have heard of it before. It's PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. We have to do parentheses first, then exponents. So if I was to solve this, what I actually should do is my exponent first, which is this piece. 3 to the power of 2 is 9. So now I have pi multiplied by 9 multiplied by 2. I usually go on and multiply my numbers together. The order of multiplication doesn't matter. So now I have pi times 18. And in my calculator, if I was to do pi times 18, I would get some decimal. And that would be the answer. So now if we look at this first question, they give you a cylinder. I've plugged in and shown the work for you. Your job is to now just try the others. Moving forward, they ask you to first of all, on number 1, draw a picture of the tank, then calculate the volume using obviously the formula. And then after that, you want to know in gallons. So once you know the cubic feet, you've got to times that answer by 7.5 to get the gallons. The next page you can do in multiple ways. First of all, they tell you that you have a 2-inch pipe and it's 45 feet long. You've got to be in the same units if you're going to find the volume of the pipe. So what I did is converted the 45 feet to inches, which is 540 inches, so that when I plugged into the formula right here, my radius is only 1 because my diameter is 2, and then my height or my length is 540, so they're in the same units, and then I just solved. There's also a way, if you read your book, they have a table in the back. It's actually data table number 3. I wrote it up in that top corner. If you read the table, you can go to the exact pipe size and look for the gallons column, and it'll literally tell you the amount of gallons that it can hold. Either way is fine to do. Once you know the amount of gallons that it holds, it's very easy to find the weight, because gallons to pounds is just multiplied by 8.33. We should have that memorized by now. Okay, our last shape is a sphere. For a sphere, there's multiple formulas you can use, just in different formats. My favorite one seems to be this one, 4 times pi times the radius cubed, all divided by 3. In your book, there's another formula that's in a decimal form. It'll give you the same answer. It's just harder for me to memorize, so I stick to the formula for the fraction. Right here, we have a sphere. What I've plugged in is the radius. Our radius is 4. And that's all that's got to be plugged in is the radius. And the next step that I took is I cubed the radius. And when I did 4 cubed, I got 64. Then in my calculator, I took the 4 and the 64 that were in the top of the fraction and multiplied them and got 256. I divided that 256 by 3 and then times by pi. And that is what you get. The next part is just asking about your conversions again. The more you write them, the more you'll remember. Inches cubed divided by 231. Feet cubed times by 7.5. Those are both conversions to gallons. Once you have gallons, you always multiply by 8.33 to figure out the weight. This last page, again, was all about spheres and comparing spheres to cylinders. You're just finding their volumes. And that completes the lesson for Unit 47, 48, 49, and 50. Remember, if you have any questions, you can email me. My email is rpurser@dsdmail.net. It's also at the top of Canvas if you forget. Bye.